December 2025. This discovery just rewrote 350,000 years of human history. And it all comes down to one question. But to understand why, we have to go back further than you think.
One night, one person, two sticks. That's the story you've heard. It's wrong. Fire didn't begin with an invention. It began 600,000 years before that, with a lightning strike nobody controlled and nobody could explain.
1 million years ago, Wonderwerk Cave, South Africa. Long before anyone could make fire, someone learned to take it. This is Homo erectus, not Homo sapiens, not Neanderthal, older than both. Archaeologists found something remarkable there, layers of ash, generations of them. This fire was kept alive for generations. Someone had to feed it every day for longer than recorded history has existed. What did that fire actually buy them? Plenty. It kept predators at bay. It gave them the first indoors, the first place safe enough to just sit. The first indoors. It extended the day. Hours that used to be wasted in darkness, now usable. More hours, more thinking, more making. But here's what they could not do. If it went out, that was it. No backup, no second chance. Until someone could make a new one, there was no new one. They couldn't make fire. They could only keep it. This went on for 600,000 years. 600,000 years of carrying fire forward without ever knowing how to start one from nothing. And yet they still got everything fire had to offer. Warmth, safety, light, all of it, without ever making a single spark themselves. Think about that. Controlling something is not the same as creating it. That distinction is about to matter enormously, because there's a second question. Did fire build the human brain? There's a theory, a famous one. Cooked food is easier to digest, which means less energy spent digesting, and more energy available for something else. The brain. Brain tissue costs 22 times more energy than muscle, gram for gram. Cooking, this theory says, might have built the modern human brain. But there's a problem. Brain size grew steadily for millions of years, but solid evidence of fire only starts around 400,000 years ago. The timing doesn't line up. Some researchers think fire mattered far less than we want to believe. Nobody actually knows for certain. Not yet. But here's what we do know. Controlling fire and making fire are two completely different skills.
600,000 years apart. That's longer than the entire gap between us and the Neanderthals. Remember the date from the start of this video? Here's the rest of the story. Archaeologists in Barnham, England found scorched earth, cracked flint tools, and two small fragments of a mineral called pyrite. Pyrite strikes sparks when struck against flint. It isn't naturally found anywhere near this site, which means they carried it there on purpose. 400,000 years ago, the oldest known evidence of a human being deliberately making fire. Not lightning, not luck, a method, repeatable, on demand. And the people who most likely did it weren't even modern humans yet, probably early Neanderthals, 350,000 years earlier than anyone thought possible. The previous record for fire-making evidence? 50,000 years. This single discovery moved the goalposts by 350,000 years. And that's still only the oldest evidence we found, not necessarily the oldest it happened. There was no single inventor. There was a relay race across 600,000 years. Someone kept it alive long enough for someone else 500,000 years later to figure out how to start it. Neither one of them gets a name, but every fire lit since traces back to that moment. But that 600,000-year gap changed something even bigger than where they could live.
On-demand fire changed where humans could live. No longer hostage to lightning strikes or wildfires, they could choose where to live. Anywhere. It also made their tools better. Heat-treated stone flakes sharper, holds an edge longer. Sharper tools, better hunts, more food. And it gave them something else, a reason to sit still together after dark. The first storytelling circle. Stories about the hunt, about the dead, about the volcano that almost ended everything. Some of those stories are coming in the next few episodes. Fire didn't just keep them warm. It gave them a reason to talk.
So, discovery or accident? Someone gathered an ember they didn't make. Someone else, hundreds of thousands of years later, finally learned to strike a spark. Neither one knew what they were starting. That might be the most human thing of all. Every fire you've ever sat beside, every stove, every candle on a birthday cake, all of it traces back to that one spark 400,000 years ago. Remember this? Now you know the rest of the story. They never got credit. We're giving it now. But fire wasn't the only thing that almost didn't survive. Next time, the eruption that nearly ended us. And it did not go the way you'd expect.